Mario Kart! Back in elementary school, before Super Smash Bros., this was the main multiplayer game for my friends and I. This is Mario Kart 64 for the Nintendo 64. Now, even with this game's reputation as being a classic N64 multiplayer title, you do notice a number of flaws. Fortunately, however, the good outweighs the bad. If you're looking for a story in this game, or any Mario Kart game for that matter, you won't find it. And pfft, who needs a story in a Mario Kart game anyway? The point is actually playing the game.
What do we gotta do?
Simple. Select one of 8 characters from the Mario universe, select a track, and race against other characters in go-karts. Throughout each track there are boxes with question marks that give you a random item when you drive through one. And you use that item you got to help you win the race. Or at least try to. It's also helpful to keep attributes in mind when choosing a character. Light characters like Toad go fast, heavy characters like Bowser go slower but can knock people out of the way. You get the idea. Now while this is the same concept as the original Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo, Mario Kart 64 made a new statement on the series.
I guarantee you, things will change.
It turned the series into more of the multiplayer-focused party game that we know today, instead of an arcade-style game that focused on skilled racing like the original. And that's a very good thing. Part of this change comes from the increased focus on using items on your opponents, from bananas and green shells to mushrooms and the infamous blue shell. This change in focus, along with accessible controls for up to 4 players, make this game easy for those who don't play a lot of video games, yet deep for those who still love to be skilled racers. Another good thing this game does, thanks to the power of the N64, is improved track design. Every course in Mario Kart 64 feels much more like its own track instead of a recycled version of another track with a simple design. Taking advantage of the N64's 3D engine, the tracks include hills, ramps, and new obstacles that actually make the race more engaging. Like driving in the middle of busy traffic on Toad's Turnpike.
You idiot!
Sue me, head.
It's easy to see why the track designs of this game have become the standard for the series, but the tracks are also complemented by use of sound. Not only are there fun sound effects for using items on other racers, or hearing your character's fail sound as you fall off the track. Not Arnold laughing at you. But there are also well-composed musical themes for all the tracks. Granted, some of the themes are repeated in more than one track, which could get a bit old, but the themes do epitomize that late 90s 64-bit world that the Nintendo 64 made possible. Unfortunately, the same can't really be said for the game's graphics. No, I'm not talking about the track visuals. Those have the well-made 3D graphics you'd expect from an N64 title. I'm talking about the character models. They don't really look like they belong in this 3D world. They almost look like they're stuck somewhere between SNES graphics and N64 graphics. But the visuals aren't the biggest problem of this game, and frankly they shouldn't be considered a huge problem for any game. I'd say this game's biggest weakness is its controls. Now I hate to sound really negative about a classic game, and maybe it's just because I'm so used to the sharp controls of Double Dash, but Mario Kart 64's controls are noticeably flawed. The steering feels loose in the game, almost to the point where half the challenge is trying to keep my kart from drifting into an obstacle just from turning.
No, it is not true.
I'm afraid it is true. And before I get a bunch of comments like that, or buy a new controller comments, it's definitely not the controller's fault. I've played this game using different N64 controllers on the cartridge version, and on the Virtual Console version shown here, I've played with perfectly good GameCube controllers and a new Classic Controller Pro. I got the exact same results every time. But the good news about the controls is that they're very accessible. hold A to accelerate, press B to brake, analog stick to steer, and Z button, or the L button in the case of the Virtual Console version, to use items. It's really all you need to know in order to play this game. And that easy learning makes multiplayer that much better. But before I talk more about multiplayer, I want to mention the Mario Grand Prix of the single player mode. Because that's really all there is to the single player mode, the Grand Prix.
It really comes down to this.
16 tracks divided into 4 cups and 3 difficulty modes with an unlockable mirror mode. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing else to unlock besides mirror mode and the new title screen. This may make the single player mode seem rather thin since nearly everything is unlocked from the start, but that's very good news for multiplayer. Everything being unlocked from the start. So from the very day that you buy or download this game, you can invite 3 of your friends over and race each other in versus mode or pummel each other in the classic balloon battle mode. This mode has 4 specially designed arenas for you and your friends to drive around and throw the same items at each other that are used in the races. Well, except the blue shell, of course. And side note, there are no AI bots in battle mode, so make sure you have people over if you want to play it. Flaws aside, this game is well remembered by Nintendo fans for a reason. It changed a game franchise forever, and it's universally considered one of the best multiplayer games of the late 90s.
Congratulations! I'm Luigi, #1.